Hello and welcome to one of our tech talks. I'm a big data engineer at Qimia, and today I want to show you something about data analytics and especially about the data visualization tool Power BI. Now, precise data analysis is today's key feature to well-founded business strategies or business decisions. However, data analysis always needs a proper data structure behind. And therefore, you need a well-planned infrastructure and an elaborated data engineering. Keeping this in mind, it's basically your choice which kind of BI tool or data analytics tool you want to use. In this presentation, we'll show some advantages or features of the data visualization tool Power BI. But before I want to deep dive into Power BI, I want to say a few words about the data structure that lies behind such data analysis. So in the best case, your company has already some data warehouse structure. And this data warehouse structure is already optimized for data analytics. So if you want to learn more about these data warehousing techniques, you can check out the video of a colleague of mine. You will find the link below. However, most of the companies would usually have some kind of relational data. So that means there are some data sources or tables which are related to each other. So for example, you can have some business process inside your company, for example, your sales, and you have some other sources or tables which are describing these sales, like answering the question, who made that sale or where was that sale made? Now, Power BI supports this relational data structure by the function called the relationship management. In the relationship management, you can just choose the tables that are related together, and you choose the key via which they are linked. You can also choose the cardinality of your tables or your data sources. Now, speaking about the sources is also important in Power BI. So here Power BI comes with a giant flexibility in terms of connections. You can ingest data from almost every sources. You can use databases like MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle DB, or DB2. You can also ingest data from cloud data warehouse systems such as Amazon Redshift, Google BigQuery, or Azure Synapse. You can also ingest data from local files such as TXT file, JSON files, or Excel files. And you can even use other services such as ODBC connections. You can use Python scripts, or you can load data from online services such as Google Analytics. Now coming to the main point of Power BI, which are its visualizations. Here, Power BI comes with a whole bunch of possibilities in creating visualizations. There are easy line or bar plots, like you can see here, but there's also more fancy stuff like maps or tree maps. Now, you can even create further visuals with Python or R code. Creating these visuals is quite easy. You just need to select the columns that you want to plot against each other. You can also choose whether you want to aggregate on certain columns, so meaning summing or counting. And then you just have to define the options like the color, the naming, or the size. Now, having said this, we want to come to another quite valuable feature of Power BI, which are its transformations. So, in general, data transformation should be done by the data engineers in your source systems. However, sometimes it might be necessary to include some of the transformation inside your BI tool. This is especially the case if you have very long software release cycles, so you just cannot wait until the next cycle is through if you want to have some information very fast. In this case, Power BI comes with a giant flexibility also in terms of transformations. So you can create new columns, new measures, or you can join several tables together. Now, typically, you make use here of the so-called DAX syntax. Another quite useful type of transformation is to define groups in Power BI. Now, let's check out the picture that you see here. Here, we want to answer the question whether the revenue that a certain employee creates is dependent on the salary. However, from just plotting the revenue against the salary, you cannot draw any conclusive results. Whereas on this next picture, where we defined some groups, you can draw some conclusions, or at least you get a better overview whether the revenue depends on the salary. Another very valuable feature of Power BI are its slicers. With the slicers, you can focus your analysis on some key aspects. So let's check out this graphic here. There you can see the revenue that some artificial retailer creates in each of his stores, together with the store size and the number of employees that are working in that store. Now, you see a clear trend of the revenue together with the number of employees and the store size, but probably you could have also seen that trend if you would have reduced the information a little bit, and with this, you would focus on some key aspects. Now, especially if you want to focus on stuff like you just want to show several stores, like probably just the ones that are in Asia, or probably just your favorite stores. In Power BI, you have two possibilities to do that. Either you hard-code some filters, so really just cutting out some data, or you add these slicers, which you can see on the right side. So there you have these kind of select boxes, and you can select exactly which kind of data you want to show. So in this next graphic, you see that we have reduced our stores that we want to show, and now you can see the trend very clearly, and it's getting a better overview of what is happening. The great advantage with these slicers is also that you can deliver the graphics together with the slicers to your decision makers, so they can even choose which kind of aspect they want to pronounce in their analysis. Now, coming to the last feature that I want to talk about is the publishing function of Power BI. So Power BI comes with different functionality. There's Power BI Desktop and there's Power BI Online version. So with the Power BI Desktop, you create your visuals, and from the visuals, you create reports. Now, if you want to share these reports with other colleagues, you can publish them to a shared workspace, which is then in Power BI Online. And from these shared reports, you can create some dashboards. And the dashboards are the perfect tools for decision makers to work out new business strategies. Now, summing up what we just learned. First of all, Power BI is a very powerful tool to make descriptive data analysis fast and easy. Furthermore, it fits perfectly to modern data warehouse architecture with its relationship management. And lastly, it makes development and data analysis in teams very easy with its online version. So with this, I would like to thank you very much for your attention and see you next time in the next Tech Talk.
Qimia. To the future, together.